Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live, brought to you by
Freekeen.com.
Listen live at freetalklive.com.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, July 26, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.58 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $30, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,206. Antiwar.com reports, citing steps Egypt has taken over the last year, the Trump administration has decided to unfreeze $195 million in foreign aid earmarked for Egypt's military. The money was initially set aside in fiscal year 2016, and State Department officials say it will now be delivered. The funding was withheld over human rights concerns, as well as U.S. government anger and changes in Egyptian law regulating foreign non-government organizations. The Egyptian military junta greatly increased the penalty for NGOs seen as taking certain undesirable activities. U.S. military aid to Egypt is theoretically illegal at any rate because of the prohibition on funding military juntas. The U.S. has circumvented that by choosing to not recognize the 2013 coup d'etat, which ousted the elected government. The coup immediately fueled human rights concerns, with Egyptian forces killing hundreds of civilian protesters in the streets as terrorists and sentencing massive numbers of allies of the former government to death. Historical U.S. ties to Egypt, however, are heavily between the two militaries. This meant the U.S. was resistant to the brief civil government in Egypt and quick to embrace the new junta when it took over. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 13,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency, and Zencash now has supernodes. Supernodes will advance the decentralization of the Zencash network and ensure the utility not only of Zencash as a currency, but also the future services that will be layered in the infrastructure. Learn more at Zencash.com. UPI reports Jason Spencer, a Georgia lawmaker who bared his butt and shouted slurs on Sacha Baron Cohen's Showtime series, has resigned. Spencer has faced criticism since his appearance Sunday night on Cohen's show, Who is America? In the series, Cohen dupes political figures. In Spencer's case, he believed Cohen was an Israeli TV host and former Mossad agent who wanted to teach him about tactics to ward off Islamic terrorists. Cohen told Spencer of various ways to repel attackers, including screaming the N-word or faking a Chinese accent to sneak a selfie stick under a woman's burqa. Caleb McKitchen, a spokesman for Georgia House Speaker David Ralston, said Spencer will step down at the end of the month. Spencer lost the GOP primary in May after sponsoring failed anti-masking legislation critics called an anti-burqa law. Spencer had incentive to stay in office until January, at which point he would have logged 8 years in the Georgia Assembly, making him eligible for taxpayer-subsidized health insurance for life. Spencer said Cohen took advantage of my paralyzing fear that my family would be attacked. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports dozens of immigrant parents were coerced or misled by U.S. authorities on the Mexico border into signing forms agreeing to be deported quickly without their children, according to a legal filing made on Wednesday. A Honduran asylum seeker identified only as HGA in testimony filed in U.S. District Court in San Diego said, "They showed me a form and told me I needed to sign the form so I could be reunified with my son." Other parents were illiterate or spoke only indigenous languages, said that they could not understand the forms they were signing. Attorney Sophia Reeve said in a declaration that she met last week with 9 fathers on a list provided by the U.S. government of parents who had waived reunification with their children. She said all of the fathers had no idea they had signed a document that relinquished any rights to be reunited with their children. An official with the Department of Homeland Security, who asked not to be named, said a notice of rights is posted in English and Spanish in all detention facilities where parents are detained, and the forms waiving reunification must be read to parents in a language they understand. The official said some parents have indicated they want their children to remain in the United States with family members if they are deported. The American Civil Liberties Union filed statements from attorneys who interviewed immigrants and an immigrant account to support its motion asking District Judge Dana Sabraw to stay deportations of reunited parents for 7 days after their children were returned to them. The rights group said the time was needed to advise parents of their rights and to allow them time to consider their options. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The chimpanzee spends most of its day in the jungle, carelessly swinging from tree to tree and picking mites off itself, instead of building shelter and teaching itself how to read. This chimp is named Bolo, and researchers at Duke University have shown that he can solve three-dimensional logic puzzles, an impressive feat indeed, until you learn that human children as young as 3 are also able to solve the puzzle. Even a mentally handicapped human is capable of verbal speech, something no chimpanzee has ever been able to accomplish, despite working vocal cords capable of howling in irritation after soiling itself. Chimps have been observed using tools, but their tools are little more than sticks. Even driving and preparing pancakes, tasks we leave to the stupidest, least educated humans, lay beyond the capabilities of the chimp.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in line here momentarily where you can call in to join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. But of course, we bring things to the table as well, and sometimes we bring the same thing.
Sometimes we do.
To the table. The we in studio tonight is me, Daryl.
And Chris.
And Chris, you and I both independently brought in different versions of the same story.
Of the same scary stuff.
Yeah, so what sort of scary thing is going on now?
Today's scary story of the week is brought to you by... this comes to us from The Verge, and this one is about Amazon. And Amazon loves to tinker with little things that some might say make life more convenient. Some may allege that they make us safer, and sometimes it seems to be blatant spying. But in this case, Amazon...
In this case, we're not talking about the Alexa.
Right.
Or the Blink Home security camera.
Are you trying to set these off in homes across the country?
No, I'm just saying that, because I know that there are legitimate concerns about the Alexa.
Sure.
To where people are, wait a second, if it's, waiting for me to say a certain word, then that means it has to be listening to me to know that I said that certain word.
Yes.
Is it then transmitting all of that stuff? And there have been people that have done some kind of test showing that it's not actually transmitting, and then other people have, given anecdotal evidence of, it sounds like it is transmitting stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And maybe it's something to where somebody was watching TV, listening to a radio, and somebody said Alexa, and then it woke the thing up, and then somebody said something.
Possible. But when we talk about Alexa, and that's the one that gets a lot of news, but don't forget about Siri and Google. So both of those.
And then Samsung has their own
Bixby
thing. And
Bixby, which is absolutely horrible. I have never seen such a horrible product in my entire life. That would be my opinion to any Samsung employees listening out there.
I thought Samsung's thing was just called Galaxy.
No, they have a personal assistant called Bixby, and the thing just does not seem to work for me for anything. To the point where there are whole apps now in the App Store on how to violently disable Bixby with prejudice. I mean, it's good. It's good. But let's
talk about this scary thing from Amazon. And I think we actually talked about this particular piece of facial recognition technology called Rekognition, but it's spelled with a K.
R-E-K, like you're going to get wrecked. That's what I think of when I read this.
Yeah.
The American Civil Liberties Union tested Amazon's facial recognition system, and the results were not good. To test the system's accuracy, the ACLU scanned the faces of all 535 members of Congress against 25,000 public mugshots using Amazon's Open Recognition API.
All right.
That's an application program interface.
Yep.
None of the members of Congress were in the mugshot lineup, but Amazon's system generated 28 false matches.
Well, they could have been.
I was going to say, we are talking members of Congress. A finding that the ACLU says raises serious concerns about recognition's use by police. Quote, an identification, whether accurate or not, could cost people their freedom or even their lives, unquote, the group said in an accompanying statement. Congress must take these threats seriously, hit the brakes, and enact a moratorium on law enforcement use of facial recognition, unquote. Reached by The Verge, an Amazon spokesman attributed the results to poor calibration. The ACLU's tests were performed using Recognition's default confidence threshold of 80%, but Amazon says it recommends at least a 95% threshold for law enforcement applications where a false ID might have more significant consequences.
Oh, right. 95%, like the success rate of drug dogs.
Good point. Good point, Darryl.
Those lie detector tests.
Right.
Or the lineups to where they just have a bunch of people stand in a row. Those things are all at least 95% accurate.
Are they?
Right?
I don't think so. Yeah, folks, here's the honest truth. The honest truth is that most of these technologies and ideas and processes that we've, come to expect when we watch our crime thrillers on TV don't have that high of a success rate. And what that means to you is that when you are arrested, the odds...
The only thing with a 95% success rate anywhere in the justice system is the prosecutor.
Right.
And that's because in over 90% of the cases, people take a plea deal.
Right.
And in the remaining cases, there's about a 90% conviction rate because, well, this guy's the defendant. He must be guilty.
Right.
Even though we supposedly have a justice system built on innocent until proven guilty, there's all kinds of things that happen. Some of them courts have thrown out as invalid, but they still happen, which is called defendant identification.
Yes.
To where somebody takes the stand. Do you see the defendant? Yes. Where is he? Sitting at the defense table. Thank you. You've just identified the suspect.
That's about it. And a lot of these things that we sort of take for granted. The lie detector, facial recognition, voice prints, all these things, fingerprints are pretty good. They're high, but they're not infallible.
Right.
And what we're talking about is, whether or not someone gets their liberty taken from them, whether they get their freedom taken from them, or whether they actually lose their life in some cases.
Right. Your calls and thoughts welcome. There's definitely more to this. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
While 80% confidence is an acceptable threshold for photographs of hot dogs, chairs, animals, and all other social media use cases, the representative said, that's the ACLU representative said, quote, it wouldn't be appropriate for identifying individuals with a reasonable level of certainty, unquote. Still, Recognition does not enforce that recommendation during the setup process, and there's nothing to prevent law enforcement agencies from using the default setting. I dare say there's probably nothing restricting them from going from 80% or 85% down to, say, 50%.
And that's scary.
Right. That if you can just slide a slider.
We don't know. Maybe the slider only goes down to 80.
Possible. But just leaving something like that arbitrary up to law enforcement, just to basically what it would do is it would probably cast the net wider. So I could see facial recognition saying, okay, we have a crime that got committed in the downtown business district. So let's pull all of our cameras that the city is paid to put up
Right.
And we're going to run all these streams through Rekognition and see what it comes up with. And if they run it through let's say they run it through at 95%.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't get anything, Daryl. What do we do? Well, let's slide that down to 85% and see if we get somebody that way. Let's slide it down to 75%.
Yeah.
Thinking maybe that it wasn't a clear shot. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like law enforcement may think and say, okay, well, let's adjust it until we start to get some hits.
Right.
And when you're doing that, you're casting the net. So now you've reduced the accuracy of the system, but now you've got, say, 30, 40 people.
Well, now we've got potential suspects.
Right. So let's go round them all up.
And then we do a lineup.
Right.
And we bring in the person that wound up getting robbed.
Right.
And if there was a weapon involved, then the identification rate drops precipitously because the person that was victimized was focused on the weapon, not the face of the person that victimized them.
Doesn't matter.
But let's, completely throw that out the window as well. Yeah, there's all kinds of just absolutely horrible, scary stuff involved in the justice system. There's more from this. Again, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And coming up, let's talk farm subsidies and tariffs. And subsidies to bail out people hurt by the tariffs.
There you go.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You open up your Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime. Visit BlinkProtect.com. BlinkProtect.com to get your Blink home security system. Or go to Amazon.com and search Blink Camera. Blink is an Amazon company.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 13,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency, and Zencash now has supernodes. Supernodes will advance the decentralization of the Zencash network and ensure the utility not only of Zencash as a currency, but also the future services that will be layered in the infrastructure. Learn more at zencash.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment, it gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And we'll get back into this story, actually a pair of stories, one from CNET, one from Verge, about Amazon's Rekognition facial software, and that's the name of it, is Rekognition, spelled with a K instead of a C. And, well, the ACLU did some tests, and turns up that they wound up getting 28 members of Congress coming up, matching some criminals. And no, these members of Congress were not themselves criminals.
No, I'm going to debate you on that point. They may very well be criminals. They just weren't the criminals you are looking for.
Right. They weren't the particular criminals that were in the photographic makeup of 2,500 criminals. And again, we'll get back into these stories. But first, I want to tell you about something that libertarians have been wanting for a long time. And, well, it's here, and it's good. It's liberty.menu. It's a directory for liberty-minded businesses, digital content, events, and so much more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, kind of like on Yelp, but there's also a bit of a social networking aspect where you can connect and share with other users. Use of liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at liberty.menu. And use code FTL after sign up to get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. That's liberty.menu. And so, again, talking about this Rekognition software, spokesperson for Amazon says that while 80% confidence is an acceptable threshold for photos of hot dogs, chairs, animals, or other social media, it would not be appropriate for identifying individuals with a reasonable level of certainty.
Right.
That's why they've put in a higher threshold of 95%, supposedly. But an ACLU lawyer, Jacob Snow, told CNET that Amazon does not necessarily steer law enforcement agencies towards the higher threshold. If a police department uses the software, it will be set by default to 80%, and the officers will not be asked to change the setting, even if they intend to identify criminals. Snow continues saying, Amazon makes no effort to ask users what they are using Rekognition for.
Yeah.
And that's scary, to where they're saying, oh, we're making this facial recognition thing.
No.
But we're not going to ask you why you're using our facial recognition software, and just by default it's 80%, but you shouldn't use it at 80%, even though that's the default, and that's what we put it at the default.
I'm going to go devil's advocate here and say that there are a lot of reasons why people would want facial recognition software. So if you have an Apple device that you can look at and it unlocks your phone, number one, that's horrible security, but you're free to do that. You know that that's part of it. If you have an Android device, say you have a Samsung, a modern Samsung phone, same features are built in. They can do facial recognition. They can do, iris recognition. They can do all kinds of things. That's fine. Excuse me. But what all Amazon did was made this platform available through their Amazon Web Services. So AWS or Amazon Web Services are just software services that anybody can subscribe to. So when I think of this, what I am really, really concerned with is some IT guy in law enforcement, like thumbing through the list of Amazon services, web servers, we got plenty of those, messaging servers, no, we're okay. Ooh, facial recognition.
Right.
So to me, it should never be the onus should never fall on the provider. It should fall on law enforcement, who is supposed to be responsible in how they're acquiring evidence. And if you are going to basically, tune this from 95% and say reasonable suspicion of guilt based on this, or reasonable recognition of your face, down to 80, which is basically dragnet, let's just round up everybody and see what happens. That's law enforcement's problem. It's not Amazon being a bad actor. It is absolutely law enforcement.
Right. And I know that it's sort of in vogue to hate Amazon.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, have they marketed? And I know nothing about the marketing of this particular thing, but all of the news that I've read about it makes it sound as though they are marketing this to law enforcement.
Hard to tell.
So if you're making a product and you're marketing it to law enforcement, then I would say that the onus is on you to set a default threshold higher than 80% probability. But if it's just something that, got thrown out on, some thing that's kind of like GitHub, and then law enforcement decides to use it, then the onus is on law enforcement to make sure that they're using it appropriately.
Right. So I just happen to, go to the Amazon Web Services page and pull up recognition.
So let's jump back into your Verge article, because they've got some info about real life uses of this. So it's not just hypothetical of, well, they could be using it for fill in the blank.
Right. Amazon's recognition came to prominence in May when an ACLU report showed the system being used by a number of law enforcement agencies, including a real-time recognition pilot by Orlando Police. Sold as part of Amazon Web Services cloud offering, the software was extremely inexpensive, often costing less than $12 a month for an entire department. The Orlando pilot has since expired, although the department continues to use the system. The ACLU's latest experiment was designed with a particular eye towards recognition's partnership with the Washington County Sheriff's Department in Oregon, where images were compared against a database as many as 300,000 mugshots. Quote, "It's not hypothetical," says Jacob Snow, who organized the test for the ACLU of Northern California. Quote, "This is a situation where recognition is already being used." The test also showed indications of racial bias, a long-standing problem for many facial recognition systems. 11 of the 28 false matches misidentified people of color, roughly 39%, including civil rights leader Representative John Lewis, Democrat of Georgia, and 5 other members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Only 20% of current members of Congress are people of color, which indicates that false match rates affect members of color at a significantly higher rate.
All right, so pause there, jump over to the CNET article where they mention that they've actually, I think, got a quote from some police agency somewhere. They're saying that nobody's going to arrest anybody based on just this thing giving a false match. The facial recognition narrows down the list of suspects, and then humans take over.
Right.
Well, humans falsely identify people at a high rate as well, especially when there's a mix of ethnicity between victim and perpetrator. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Jessica Armand, creator of the fluoride-free oral care brand My Magic Mud. You're going to love our new products. Our cutting-edge oral rinses deeply soothe your mouth and fight cavities naturally. Our breath spray, My Magic Mist, will invigorate your senses with essential oils of peppermint and eucalyptus. Our clinically proven toothpaste and tooth powders whiten your teeth and detoxify your mouth. Buy discounted bundles direct at mymagicmud.com and take 10% off with coupon code GCN10. mymagicmud.com.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That is the toll-free call-in line, how you can join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. The us in studio tonight is Daryl.
And Chris.
And there's a couple other ways that you can join us. You can join us on the Skype. Username is LRN.FM. There's also the Discord.
Do we say the in front of every technology?
I do.
You can call us on the phone, or you can call us on the Skype, or you can call us on the Discord. Yeah.
I say the.
Okay.
It's not a Skype. Like, Skype is the name of the technology.
Right, but you could just say
the Skype.
Call us on Skype. Or even today, you can Skype us at.
You could do that. Or you could Discord us. That just sounds weird.
It just doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay.
There's the Discord. That's basically like a series of chat rooms, maybe some tubes. There's also a call-in line on that if you have a decent internet connection and a decent headset, you're going to sound pretty good.
You bet.
Generally better than if you're on, like a cell phone that's got not great connection. Discord.lrn.fm, and every now and then Chris will chat with you, and some of the other hosts might chat as well. So we're talking about Amazon's facial recognition software called Rekognition. And Chris, you were playing around on the Amazon Web Services, and did you download this thing?
You don't download anything. You just use stuff on their servers. So
Hold on. So there's no downloading anymore?
Not really. Not really. It's a web service.
I've been using GitHub wrong.
Oh, well, you can download things. You certainly can, but basically you would spin up a server and in the cloud on Amazon's cloud and say that I would like this service assigned to it, and then you do a bunch of configurations. And we're not going to get into any of that, but basically what it means is you could get into facial recognition without having to buy a whole lot of hardware. That's the big difference.
Right. So do we know, and there's some stuff in the CNET article that I don't think is necessarily covered in the Verge article. One quick sentence here says, Amazon didn't actually create that many false positives, even at the 80% confidence ratio compared to, say, the UK Metropolitan Police's facial recognition technology. So here we have one piece of technology that was created by a police department, or specifically for a police department, right, and this other thing called Rekognition that I still don't know if it was specifically marketed to police, or if they just wound up stumbling upon this thing and said, oh wow, here's a technology that looks like it would be good to use.
Well, yeah, it's hard to tell, and I have no idea, what group at Amazon came up with it first. But they list a ton of use cases, and part of it are things like object scene, activity detection, facial recognition, facial analysis. Is this person happy, sad? Pathing, determining which direction people are going. So picture like a soccer game, predicting paths and things like that. Unsafe content detection in web stuff, celebrity recognition, text and images, all sorts of things that it's not easy to identify without somebody actually looking. And their thing is you can use their AI and their recognition software to do some of these types of things. The applications could be anything.
All right, so hearing you say AI, and I don't know if that was a slip up and you meant to say API.
No, I meant AI.
But I've read haven't read the full articles. I've read headlines and then like the first paragraph of several articles about people that have tricked Google's SEO, search engine optimization thing, into showing pictures of Donald Trump when somebody does a Google image search for the word idiot.
Yeah, I saw that.
So could this facial recognition thing be gamed using this AI to where people wind up, getting false information inadvertently?
I think you can game anything some way. So the question is what's the incentive to do so, and how much effort does it take? So, yeah, I'm sure you could mess with this. I mean, I don't know how well Rekognition does with photographs. Like
Right.
if I have a photograph of somebody else and I just sort of bend it across my face, does that mess it up? There's also another technique that's been around for years, which involves basically, if you can imagine somebody with like a Rorschach test.
Okay.
A Rorschach ink blot, like painted on their face, that throws off.
So juggalos.
Exactly. That has thrown off facial recognition software for years, and it makes it very, very hard to identify who people are. So there's a number of things.
And then wearing sunglasses, wearing a baseball hat.
Yes.
Wearing a hoodie.
Or
a hoodie with a baseball cap and sunglasses. That's how nobody's found D.B. Cooper in the last 40 years.
My mother went to high school with D.B. Cooper.
Allegedly.
That's what she believes, and his name was Dan Cooper, so I have no idea.
Allegedly.
No, that part is true. Yeah, this is the question, and we're talking about two different things. I mean, whether somebody can see you and identify who you are, that's one thing. The bigger concern is when it is to me, when it's in the hands of law enforcement, and they're using it as a tool to identify suspects.
Right.
You know, forget about identifying the criminal. Of course, that's what they want to do. But the real implication to me on liberty is them using this at a very, low standard, rounding up lots of people to bring them in. And one of these times, just like we see in capital crimes, oftentimes eyewitnesses are wrong.
Yep.
And if all the people you paraded in front of your, quote, eyewitness were all recognized through facial recognition, it also means the police probably will not be having to do their job as hard.
Right.
Because they'll just have this instant list of suspects. And that to me just isn't right. Doesn't sit well.
And, I was reading an article a couple days ago about somebody that just wound up getting freed from prison after some ridiculously long amount of time. I forget if it was 20 some odd years or 30 years, but some long amount of time for a crime that he did not commit. And the victim of the crime said, when I looked at the people standing in the lineup, I kept thinking, what if I get it wrong?
Right.
What if I get it wrong?
Yeah. So that's how some people think, and other people are going to say things like, I just want to get out of here.
Right.
That guy looks pretty close. I mean, given the light, and it was late at night, and, I got to pick somebody, so I think it's going to be him.
Right.
And if he's innocent, hey, he'll get off anyway. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not always.
That's not how it works, because then the victim winds up getting put on the witness stand and being asked, do you see the defendant? Yes. Where are they? Sitting at the defense table. Let the record reflect that they have identified the suspect. No, they identified the person sitting at the defense table that you asked them to identify sitting at the defense table.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a sad fact. And the goal of law enforcement should not be to get a conviction. The goal of law enforcement should be to identify a person who has committed a crime.
Correct.
And we've talked about was that Blackstone's theory or Blackstone's?
Blackstone's the guy that wrote the legal dictionary.
Exactly, but it was basically the question of I'd rather see one
go free than 9, or one innocent person.
Rather see 100 guilty people go free as opposed to falsely accusing one innocent person.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I think there might be a little bit more to this. Plus, farm subsidies and tariffs and subsidies to bail out people harmed by the tariffs. Yeah, that's actually happening. We'll tell you about it. This is Free Talk Live. This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. So far in 2018, the Innocence Network has welcomed 32 wrongfully convicted people home from prison for crimes they did not commit and had a record-breaking 850 people unite in Memphis at their annual conference. The movement of freeing the innocent and reforming the criminal justice system is growing and would not be possible without your support. Together as 68 network organizations around the world, they've helped exonerate 513 people who spent a combined total of 7,804 years in prison. They've also worked together to pass over 150 laws in the U.S. to help prevent wrongful convictions. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
If you owe any money to the IRS, you need to call **1234. That's **1234. Uncle Sam has the power to make your life miserable. You could stop the IRS collections process right now by calling **1234. When you call the Tax Defense Center, you'll get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate your back taxes, including penalties and interest. *1234. *1234 could save you thousands on your back taxes. You could also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you have entered into a payment plan and can't make the payments. It's your hard-earned money. Stop Uncle Sam right now. Make the call that could help you end the worry today. *1234. That's *1234. *1234. *1234.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And Chris, I know you like the cryptocurrencies, as do I, and we both try to bring more people into using cryptocurrency. And something, dear listener, if you want to do the same, then look into CryptoTip. CryptoTip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. CryptoTip is a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to your service provider, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code on the CryptoTip, it brings up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and then allows them to claim the amount that you put on the tip. That's right, you get to pick the amount that goes on the CryptoTip, and the best part is if they don't claim the tip, you get it refunded after a certain amount of time, and you also specify that as well. You can set it for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, all the way out to a year. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many as you want at cryptotip.org And remember that, again, they're business card size printable cryptocurrency tips, 6 to a page, which is helpful information if you're trying to figure out, how many will fit on 1, 2, or 3 pages. Cryptotip.org.
Yeah, we've been talking about Rekognition. That's REK, R-E-K with a K, and not to be confused with the slang term used in cryptocurrency, which is wrecked, which means you've bought the wrong thing and its price is going down.
Oh, that's not a crypto term. That's a hood term from the 80s. You about to get wrecked, fool!
Well, I'm telling you, it is definitely a crypto term today. We're kind of bouncing around between two different articles here.
To quote, I forget if it was Ice Cube or Ice-T or one of the Ices, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
There we go, R-E-K. Yep. So anyway, this is another line from The Verge. Only 20% of current members of Congress are people of color, and we've been talking about how difficult this system seems to have, the difficulties it seems to have with seeing people of color less. Right. It identifies them less accurately than people with lighter skin. That finding echoes disparities found by NIST, that's the National Institute of Standards and Technology's facial recognition vendor test, which has shown consistently higher error rates for facial recognition tests on women and African Americans. Running faces against a database with no matches might seem like a recipe for failure, but it's similar to the conditions that existing facial recognition systems face every day. The system used by London's Metro Police produces as many as 49 false matches for every hit, requiring police to sort through the false positives manually. What's more significant is the rate at which the false positives cropped up in the recognition test, with more than 5% of the subject group triggering a false match of some kind. In practice, most facial recognition IDs would be confirmed by a human before they are led to anything as concrete as an arrest, but critics say that even checking a person's identity can do damage. Quote, imagine a police officer getting a false match for somebody with a concealed weapons arrest, says Snow. There's a real danger that if that information surfaced to the officer during a stop, it's not hard to imagine it turning violent, unquote. The test also raises concerns over how easy recognition can be deployed without oversight. All the ACLU's data was collected from publicly available sources, including the 25,000 mugshots. The organization declined to name the specific source for privacy reasons, but many states treat mugshots as public records. Amazon's system is also significantly cheaper than non-cloud-based offerings, charging the ACLU only $12.33 for the tests. The tests have also already inspired significant reaction from 3 members of Congress. Shortly after the test was published, Senator Markey, Democrat of Massachusetts, Republican Gutierrez, Democrat of Illinois, and Representative DeSalanier, Democrat from California, signed an open letter to Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos asking for a full list of law enforcement agencies using the technology and inquiring about safeguards around using it on children younger than 13. Serious concerns have been raised about the dangers facial recognition can pose to privacy and civil rights, the letter reads, especially when it is used as a tool of government surveillance.
Right, and the ACLU provided a statement to CNET that fits right along with that, saying that such technology could allow, and in some cases has already enabled, police to determine who intends protest.
Yeah.
ICE to continuously monitor immigrants, and cities to routinely track their own residents, whether they have reason to suspect criminal activity or not.
Right.
Changing the threshold from 80 to 95% does not change that. In fact, it could exacerbate it.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, the more I look at this looks like just another Amazon Web Service. Hey, we do this too. You can do it. And I don't think I don't see anywhere in here about a, special law enforcement interface, to go in and do all this stuff. I think what it is you upload your data set, you upload your video, you hit the start button,
Right.
It scans through and it says, okay, I flagged 50 or 60 matches here. I think that's it. I don't see anywhere where Amazon has put together a law enforcement facial recognition package. I think it's one of those things that's out there. It's a web service.
Right, and that's why I was asking the question of, do we know if this was just something they created and law enforcement found it, or if somewhere on the back end, there was some kind of marketing towards law enforcement of, hey guys, go check out this thing that we have over here.
Yeah, I don't know. Customer use cases that Amazon lists on their website are Pinterest, Motorola Solutions, WIA, Armed Data Fusion System, which sounds definitely governmental, Scripps Networks, Open Influence, Soul Platform, Butterfly Eye. I mean, there's all sorts of things. Well, let me see here.
Right, and I'm wondering how long it's going to be before, like the 4chan trolls get a hold of this and start, just taking all kinds of video and running through that to identify people. Will, the alt-righters get a hold of it and start running stuff, trying to determine who is Antifa? Will the Antifa people get it and try to identify all of the, Tiki Torch Taliban?
Right, but to do that, you have to have that initial database. You have to have some pictures that you wish to compare your video or your even if it's just photographs to.
All right, so we write a script to download everything from Facebook because Facebook has a pretty decent facial recognition.
Absolutely, it's already built in.
People get tagged in.
Right.
So you download all of that info somehow.
Right.
And then you run all of this stuff and...
Well, that's a larger scale. When you're talking about doing facial recognition against all of Facebook, that's going to take either Facebook to do it or the NSA. So that's probably outside of somebody like, the Washington County Sheriff's Department, which is actually listed here as one of those agencies that has been. Remember how they talked about that in the story, and they've got a little blurb on here. There's also Body Worn, which is a company that does some sort of web interface between police body cams and facial recognition. So there's all kinds of things here that, I can't fault Amazon for creating a product and finding out that there's a market that they may or may not have expected to use it.
Right.
But ask questions of your law enforcement. Ask your sheriff. Ask your city's police chief. Are you using facial recognition here? Do some sort of a Freedom of Information request. Ask them if they are using facial recognition.
And if you live in one of those places where you can do some kind of ballot initiative sort of thing,
right?
Maybe consider putting something together to prohibit your local police from using facial recognition.
It's a great idea. And it's not like, I don't know, law enforcement hasn't existed for a couple hundred years in its modern state. It's not like they can't live without it. They've lived without it before, and they've caught criminals the entire time. The question is, are you going to let yourself be surveilled upon by a police state? And that's where we're at today.
I don't want it. Chris, I don't think you do either, and most libertarians that I know don't want it. Actually, all of the libertarians I know don't want it. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
If you or anyone you love has been diagnosed with lung cancer, asbestosis, or mesothelioma, your diagnosis may be the result of job-related exposure to asbestos, and you may be entitled to compensation. Over $30 billion in trusts have been set aside for individuals who have been affected by asbestos exposure. How do you protect your rights and get the compensation you deserve? Call Capital Legal Group now at 800-400-LUNG. Capital Legal Group is one of the nation's resources for settlement of lung cancer and mesothelioma cases. Law firms have successfully recovered over $2.7 billion for their clients in all 50 states, and claims have been paid in as little as 60 days. If you or a family member were diagnosed with lung cancer, asbestosis, or mesothelioma, call Capital Legal Group now. now at 800-400-LUNG. We'll open a no-cost case review on your behalf. A history of tobacco use or cigarette smoking will not disqualify your case. Visit 800-400-LUNG.com or call 800-400-LUNG. Call 800-400-5864 now. That's 800-400-LUNG.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, July 26, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.58 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $30, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,206. Antiwar.com reports, citing steps Egypt has taken over the last year, the Trump administration has decided to unfreeze $195 million in foreign aid earmarked for Egypt's military. The money was initially set aside in fiscal year 2016, and State Department officials say it will now be delivered. The funding was withheld over human rights concerns as well as U.S. government anger and changes in Egyptian law regulating foreign non-government organizations. The Egyptian military junta greatly increased the penalty for NGOs seen as taking certain undesirable activities. U.S. military aid to Egypt is theoretically illegal at any rate because of the prohibition on funding military juntas. The U.S. has circumvented that by choosing to not recognize the 2013 coup d'etat, which ousted the elected government. The coup immediately fueled human rights concerns, with Egyptian forces killing hundreds of civilian protesters in the streets as terrorists and sentencing massive numbers of allies of the former government to death. Historical U.S. ties to Egypt, however, are heavily between the two militaries. This meant the U.S. was resistant to the brief civil government in Egypt and quick to embrace the new junta when it took over. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 13,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency, and Zencash now has supernodes. Supernodes will advance the decentralization of the Zencash network and ensure the utility not only of Zencash as a currency, but also the future services that will be layered in the infrastructure. Learn more at zencash.com. UPI reports Jason Spencer, a Georgia lawmaker who bared his butt and shouted slurs on Sacha Baron Cohen's Showtime series, has resigned. Spencer has faced criticism since his appearance Sunday night on Cohen's show, Who is America? In the series, Cohen dupes political figures. In Spencer's case, he believed Cohen was an Israeli TV host and former Mossad agent who wanted to teach him about tactics to ward off Islamic terrorists. Cohen told Spencer of various ways to repel attackers, including screaming the N-word or faking a Chinese accent to sneak a selfie stick under a woman's burqa. Caleb McKitchen, a spokesman for Georgia House Speaker David Ralston, said Spencer will step down at the end of the month. Spencer lost the GOP primary in May after sponsoring failed anti-masking legislation critics called an anti-burqa law. Spencer had incentive to stay in office until January, at which point he would have logged 8 years in the Georgia Assembly, making him eligible for taxpayer-subsidized health insurance for life. Spencer said Cohen took advantage of my paralyzing fear that my family would be attacked. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports dozens of immigrant parents were coerced or misled by U.S. authorities on the Mexico border into signing forms agreeing to be deported quickly without their children, according to a legal filing made on Wednesday. A Honduran asylum seeker identified only as HGA and testimony filed in U.S. District Court in San Diego said, "They showed me a form and told me I needed to sign the form so I could be reunified with my son." Other parents were illiterate or spoke only indigenous languages, said that they could not understand the forms they were signing. Attorney Sophia Reeve said in a declaration that she met last week with 9 fathers on a list provided by the U.S. government of parents who had waived reunification with their children. She said all of the fathers had no idea they had signed a document that relinquished any rights to be reunited with their children. An official with the Department of Homeland Security, who asked not to be named, said a notice of rights is posted in English and Spanish in all detention facilities where parents are detained, and the forms waiving reunification must be read to parents in a language they understand. The official said some parents have indicated they want their children to remain in the United States with family members if they are deported. The American Civil Liberties Union filed statements from attorneys who interviewed immigrants and an immigrant's account to support its motion asking District Judge Dana Sabraw to stay deportations of reunited parents for 7 days after their children were returned to them. The rights group said the time was needed to advise parents of their rights and to allow them time to consider their options. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
California is reeling from Super Rainbow Percival, which left a trail of devastation along the West Coast. A luminous band of destruction touched down in Santa Barbara. Percival set a record as the most powerful rainbow in U.S. history, with at least 30 confirmed fatalities and damage estimates in the billions. The vividly saturated colors seared through homes and roads, charring everything in its path. Those exposed to the rainbow's fury say they're lucky to be alive.
The sky was completely blue. All of a sudden, it's filled with brilliant hues of red and indigo.
All I can say is when I was a kid, rainbows didn't cut people in half.
Meteorologists say that Percival is just the latest in a pattern of increasingly dangerous rainbows, and that they're only growing stronger as global temperatures rise. Percival also comes on the heels of some extreme weather phenomena overseas. Authorities in the Philippines are still searching for thousands in the aftermath of mega sunset Wilma.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 2. You can call in and join us toll free, 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. The us in studio tonight is Daryl.
And Chris.
And changing gears here a little bit, instead of talking about facial recognition, let's talk about some, well, welfare recipients.
Poor
the
people?
Farmers.
Oh, no, I thought you meant poor people. That's welfare.
Well, farmers, they get something that is very similar to the welfares. That there's all kinds of subsidies where they get paid not to grow certain things. They get subsidized extra for growing other things and then not actually selling it on the open market. But in this case, some farmers are not happy with Donald Trump. The story here from Politico says farm groups are going on the offensive with a multi-million-dollar advertising and advocacy campaign against President Donald Trump's tariffs just days after the administration rolled out a $12 billion bailout for farmers that are being harmed by the implementation of Donald Trump's tariffs and trade war.
So here we go, folks. This is what you get. This is the world of not necessarily tariffs, economics, or anything else, but this to me is crony capitalism. So when anybody has the ability to, a bad government program comes along and it's going to cost somebody some money. If you have enough money to pay for enough lobbyists and make enough campaign contributions and grease the right wheels, guess what? You're going to get out of it. And I don't want to disparage all farmers out there. It's a rigged system, and most farmers today have lived their whole life in a rigged system.
Right.
But I tell you, and maybe I'll share this. It was a post. I come from a really agricultural area. I come from the middle of nowhere, Daryl. You know that?
Yep.
Middle of BFE. I guess that's how I could say it. But it was
big farming emptiness.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
That's the radio-friendly version.
But it was just a little note from, somebody who I know who is, her husband's a farmer. They're a farming family, and kind of calling out CBS Morning News on a story that they did. And maybe we'll talk about that after you get into this story a little bit.
Yeah, and we'll jump into this after we go to the Discord, where we've got Gene, the Christian anarchist, calling in. Gene, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi, guys. Before I get to my subject, I wanted to mention, put in a shameless plug for the EAA Air Venture. I'm at the Air Venture Convention in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I brought my helicopter up here. It's the largest aviation event of its sort.
Nice. And this is the helicopter that you built?
Well, I didn't buy it. It's a home built, but I bought it already finished.
Ah, okay. So you didn't actually do the building.
Right.
Okay.
So
you have a lot of faith in it.
There's over 10,000 aircraft up here. There's people that, there's a huge number of people that come to this. There's displays. There's everything you can imagine up here if it has to do with aviation.
Yeah, it's
everything
really...
from powered gliders up to military aircraft. So it's all here.
I remember reading stories about like experimental aircraft because I never really understood exactly what makes something experimental and why you would ever want to.
Home built.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Basically, you slap the word experimental on anything, and it's an experimental aircraft.
Yeah, but you find out how big an event Oshkosh is for the aviation community, and it's pretty impressive. But go ahead with your call.
Yeah. Well, back to the Innocence Project. I was looking at this. Darn, now I lost it on my phone. Jordan Brown, convicted 9 years ago. He was an 11-year-old kid, arrested and convicted for murder of his father's pregnant fiance. And you look at this case, and it was absolutely absurd because there were two possible solutions to this problem. Either somebody came in the house after him and his stepsister left for school and shot her in the back of the head with a shotgun, or the kid, before he went to school, went upstairs to the bedroom, grabbed the shotgun, went to this other room where she was, and the shotgun shells were in the bureau with the TV on it that she was watching, and he took one of the shotgun shells out of the bureau while the lady's watching the TV, loaded it into the gun, shot her in the back of the head, cleaned the gun up, put it back where it was to begin with, and then went off to school with his stepsister. Now that's the crazy story that they used to convict this poor 11-year-old kid. This is an 11-year-old kid. It goes to show how ridiculous the Goonerman Goon Squad is when they want to get a conviction.
Yeah.
Who would even dream this kind of a thing up? And finally, when he's 20 years old, I guess, they finally managed to get this conviction reversed. And of course, his father was one of the ones trying to get the conviction reversed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the father's fiance who was shot. So
right. I just
the poor kid, he's had his whole childhood stolen from him.
Right. And I can't help but imagining what it would be like to sit on that jury. I mean, who?
It was not a jury. It was a juvenile something.
Some sort of juvenile court. So it was just the judge, and that was it.
It says that he was adjudicated delinquent, meaning guilty, in a juvenile court. But then, how was he arrested as an adult if he was adjudicated delinquent in a juvenile court? The whole thing just stinks. I mean, you see something like this and you just get angry. You just want to hit somebody. You know, it's just awful.
What's this kid's name again?
Something Brown.
Jordan Brown.
Jordan Brown. Okay.
Jordan Brown. Yep. exonerated of the 2009 murder.
Yeah.
And this is why I support Innocence Project. I'm glad Daryl's doing this run, and I've donated some money to him, and I'll probably donate some more money before the event actually happens.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'm a big supporter of the Innocence Project, and I see, because there's been some kind of studies done, and they can't come up with exact figures because there's just no way to know.
Right.
But the best estimates that criminologists can come up with is between 2% and 5% of all convictions are innocent people. Well, 2% of 100, that's 2 people.
Right.
Yeah.
And look how many thousands are in prison. If you take that lower number, 2%, that's a ton of people in prison that shouldn't be there.
I think now there's somewhere around 2 million people sitting in prisons across the United States.
Yeah. And it's absurd. And the reason that there's so many innocent people in prison is because they've lowered the bar regarding what can be used for evidence against somebody.
Yep.
They've lowered the bar as to what people can bring up in their own defense. They've really slanted the table against the defendant and for the state.
Oh yeah.
And they tie the hands of the defendant and don't let him bring up anything that he really wants to bring up or that the lawyer wants to bring up, and then the state is allowed to bring in everything under the sun. And even when they've got evidence that they've obtained through dirty means, the fruit of the poison tree and all that, they've thrown all that out the window. This fruit of the poison tree, it used to be a thing 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's not a thing anymore. And there is no more poison tree because they just take everything, no matter how dirty and filthy it is. They take it and throw it in front of the jury and say, well, it's not in our hands. We didn't decide it. The jury decided it. Well, the jury decided it based on your crappy evidence that was manufactured or otherwise tainted.
I think it's going to get easier for the government to do with technology too, because they can find quote unquote a suspect any way they want, and then they can just tailor their evidence to fit what they find, and that's scary.
Yeah.
Gene, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses on the setup page, and then load the app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. AnyPay.global. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 13,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency, and Zencash now has supernodes. Supernodes will bring network, economic, and technical improvements across the network. And the official Zencash wallet is available on Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at Zencash.com. Zencash.com.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
You can't win if you don't enter, and you actually can improve your chances of winning a prize drawing if you wrinkle up your entry blank. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com, and I speak from experience. Why this works: if they'll be spinning the drum before drawing, your entry blank will move around more than, and not adhere to, other perfectly flat entry blanks. And if they don't spin the drum and merely reach into a box full of other perfectly flat entry blanks, many of which are sticking together, yours will feel different to the person reaching in. When you win, act surprised. And if you're looking for work, this is a metaphor. For more tips on sticking out in a world where just too much blends into the blah, 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 hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And yes, you are free to call in and talk to us live about whatever is on your mind. And of course, we bring things to the table, and we'll jump back into one of those things here in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you about Zencash, which, as of the last time I pulled up node counts, which was actually last night, it appears as though Zencash might actually have more nodes than Ethereum. Last night, they were like 100 secure nodes higher than what Ethereum has for nodes. And Zencash itself is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 13,000 secure nodes approaching 14,000, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency, and Zencash recently rolled out supernodes. No, supernodes aren't a node that you put a cape on. It's a node that you stake more Zen into. And these supernodes will advance the decentralization of the Zencash network and ensure the utility not only of Zencash as a currency, but also the future services that will be layered in the infrastructure. The supernodes will bring network, economic, and technical improvements across the Zencash network. And the official Zencash wallet is available in multiple languages and from multiple outlets: Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. Zencash.com. So let's jump, I was going to say back into the article from Politico, but we barely scratched the surface. So let's jump into the article. Again, farm groups are going on the offensive with a multi-million-dollar ad and advocacy campaign against President Donald Trump's tariffs, just days after the administration announced a rollout of a $12 billion bailout for farmers who were being harmed by the tariffs. The launch of the campaign also comes as Trump is expected in Iowa and Illinois. Apparently, he was there today, where he is likely to reassure farmers growing increasingly anxious over trade retaliation that has targeted soybeans, pork, and other major farm commodities. Brian Kuehl, executive director for Farmers for Free Trade, which is organizing the ad campaign, says agriculture is a giant and it takes a while to wake it up. And when it wakes up, you better watch out. The nonprofit group, which is backed by the American Farm Bureau Federation and the major commodity groups like the National Pork Producers Council, is investing $2.5 billion in the 4-month campaign aimed at showcasing how the tariffs are causing pain among U.S. farmers and manufacturers because of Trump's trade policies. The centerpiece of the campaign is an ad set to run on Fox News, CNBC, and CNN, and in local television and radio markets in Iowa, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. The ad calls out a July 19th remark by White House trade advisor Peter Navarro, in which he called the impacts on tariffs, quote, a rounding error. The ad says the American farmers and factory workers are not a rounding error. The organization will also deploy digital and print advertising as well as town hall events starting during the August congressional recess to get the attention of lawmakers back in their home states and home districts. China, Canada, the European Union, Mexico, and other major trading partners have hit the U.S. with retaliatory tariffs, responding to Trump's tariffs on imports of steel and aluminum. China also responded to a separate tariff action targeting Beijing for policies the administration says have led to theft and the forced transfer of valuable U.S. technology. Trump has threatened to up the ante with tariffs on imports of automobiles and auto parts, which would likely invite even tougher retaliation on U.S. agricultural producers. Now, Chris, do you want to explain how tariffs work?
God, no. But at a very high level, I'll do my best, and we'll probably slaughter
because
this a little
it's
bit.
something that people have heard the term tariffs before, but I don't think most people really understand how a tariff works.
Yep. So basically, in a free market, you would start out with zero tariffs. And
Right.
that means
So let's say that
I'm going to sell you
I'm
wheat.
a foreign country.
Yep.
And you're America.
Yep. And let's say that I need wheat and you need steel.
Yep.
Just for an example. And at zero tariffs, we both get a pretty good deal on that. But let's say that, Daryl starts producing wheat, even though I've been his biggest seller to him of that. And he starts to sell it to other countries, and he's starting to take my market share. And more to the point, Daryl's not buying any wheat from me. And if you were to be retaliatory, you might say, you know what? Fine. If Daryl tries to sell his wheat over here, we're going to slap him with 25% tariff. Whatever the price of wheat is per pound, add 25% of that. And we're going to do it because we're the government.
So then I'm spending 25% more to ship my stuff to you.
Well, what that means is, and here's the reality of it. This is supposed to hurt Daryl for doing this dastardly thing.
Right. So
for
you're
being more efficient.
Charging me like a 25% fee to put things on a boat and send it to your ports.
Yeah, you're going to have to pay that. But who pays that? It's not government that does that.
It's not Daryl that pays that.
No. What it's going to be is consumers who pay that.
Right. So it's not a 25% fee to Daryl.
No.
For you unloading the stuff in your ports.
No.
It's the consumer that winds up having to pay that 25%. Daryl doesn't.
Because all of a sudden,
lose that money.
Right. All of a sudden, because I've imposed this 25% tariff on Daryl, well, suddenly my cost of flour goes up. It may not go up full 25%. Maybe goes up, 20%. Maybe it's 30%. It just depends because economies are complex. So who knows what's going to happen? And
I may not sell as much wheat. I might sell the same amount of wheat.
Right. Or you may find new markets for your wheat.
Right.
You may go to somebody you've never sold wheat to and, hey, get a load of what Chris is doing over there. I can give you a great deal on wheat because now I have more than I did before.
Right.
So I can give you a better deal than I could have last week. And this is the insanity. When we talk about free markets, we mean markets unencumbered by government interference. That's all it means. It means that, no, we don't sit back in Washington and say you need to add 25% to this product unless they drop or unless they buy more cars or they drop a tariff that they have on us. It's a perversion of free markets, and that's what we oppose. Now, I come from a slightly unique position in that so many of my friends growing up are from an agricultural area, and I'm telling you, I have gone onto government websites to see what individual farms, friends of mine's families have made with subsidies, because you can find that stuff out, or through government grants.
Right.
Think $2 million a year for like a family of 2 or 3. And they're getting that money from the federal government. I want those guys to give me a call tonight, and I put that out there on Facebook.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Tired of being censored by Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Patreon? Well, now you don't have to be. OneWay.com is the free speech and human-friendly social network built just for you. Stop feeding the beast. Every post you make on those evil, anti-human, anti-American perverted sites helps them destroy our families, our country, and our souls. Join One Way today and take back your liberty. Your free speech alternative is waiting for you at OneWay.com. OneWay.com.
Who has the only raw, living, whole plant hemp CBD extract in the world? MetaHemp Solutions, a radically innovative approach to hemp CBDs for exceptional results. Why? Because they contain absolutely all the elements present in the original plant. All our hemp CBD products are independently lab tested for potency and purity and manufactured in our FDA registered facility. Try it today. 10% off with coupon code GCN10. Call 833-858-7500. That's 833-858-7500. Or buy MetaHemp Solutions today at metahempsolutions.com. That's metahempsolutions.com.
Free Talk Live.
I mean, what I'm saying is that if you do something that could cause harm, you should be prosecuted for it.
Private Manning was prosecuted for it. Private Manning was in jail for 7 years. Private Manning was given a 35-year sentence, which is by far and away the largest sentence ever given to a person that was a whistleblower.
Not a whistleblower.
There's a video of a helicopter gunning down reporters. That's a war crime.
But ultimately, the people in the military are following the orders of thugs and liars and criminals in Washington, D.C., and as much information and as much light can be shed about their activities should be shed on their activities.
And gunning down journalists and then laughing about it is a war crime. And anybody that's defending that is an absolutely horrible, despicable person.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That is the toll-free call-in line. It's how you can call in and join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. But I understand maybe you're a little shy and you don't want to talk to, however many people are listening right now.
Billions.
Potentially.
Trillions.
That's not even possible. There are not trillions of people.
No, but our radio waves from our 195 plus stations are being broadcast out into the universe. So God knows how many people could be listening.
Plus, internet archives last,
right,
in perpetuity. In
just
theory,
gonna extrapolate this,
and
I'm gonna say quadrillions.
In a couple thousand years, people will find this mysterious thing, and they're like, "We don't understand their language." But it sounds so interesting.
Right.
But if you don't want to interact in real time, we do have forums that you can interact with. And it's real time when you're typing, but people aren't necessarily responding immediately. Head over to forum.freetalklive.com. And yes, several of the hosts are also participants in the forums there. forum.freetalklive.com. So let's jump back into this article about Trump's absolutely insane idea here of let's impose some tariffs. And I realize that other countries are going to impose retaliatory tariffs. So you know what, farmers, because I like you. And who doesn't like farmers? Because, they grow food and everybody likes food. Right. So to help you out, because you got harmed by my bad economic decisions here, here's $12 billion.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened. Trump made some bad decisions that caused other people to retaliate. And, wait, some people are getting harmed, so here's money. This is exactly what Harry Browne described in, I think, 1996, when he said the government is good at one thing. It knows how to break your leg, hand you a crutch, and say, see, if it weren't for us, you wouldn't be able to walk.
Yeah, and that's it in a nutshell. I mean, and so often, government programs beget more bad government programs. And here we are, evidently we're in such dire straits trade-wise, and that's just a moving number. Every country on the planet is always going to have a trade surplus or a trade deficit with some other country.
Right, and
you can't...
everybody listening to my voice right now has a trade surplus and a trade deficit with someone.
Yes, that's just how it works. And
Aldi's have never purchased anything from me. Walmart has never purchased anything from me.
It's a trade deficit. We need to put some sanctions on the, I need a 25% tariff on Walmart.
I think I've got a trade deficit with you.
You do, I'm happy to say.
Although I do still have a gift card, so I don't know if that's a surplus or...
Dang, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But these are the types of things, and you'll hear a lot of us on Free Talk Live will occasionally bring up Austrian economics or classical economics or classical liberalism. This is the ideas that have been popular for hundreds of years until we get this Keynesian economic theory. And the Keynesian theory supports this kind of warlike back and forth between nations, and you have to somehow there's a way to make economies that involve billions of actors doing billions of things in their own best interest. There's some way to manage all that and just make it work. The Austrian school says no, you can look at the effects of it and you can keep your mitts off of it. That's the best thing you can do.
Right.
So as we talk about this stuff, that's what comes to mind. And this is just another case of government needs to stop interfering. What we should have done with the Chinese is said, you know what? We still have some lingering tariffs. Let's drop ours. Hey, I'll tell you what, we'll take the first step. We're going to drop our tariffs against your steel. How about dropping your tariffs against our cars? You willing to do that? No? Okay, well, we'll put them back to where they were. But if you ever want to drop them, that's a good thing because free trade is what benefits everyone.
Right. And I saw a headline earlier today. I forget what washing machine company apparently wound up, Whirlpool.
Yeah.
Apparently wound up getting hit pretty hard, where, like some of their stock went down because of these tariffs that they got hit with, because I forget if it was a tariff that another country imposed or one that the U.S. imposed, and I'm not able to find the article right now.
Right.
But, that's how these things work. Again, the tariff is not against the other country.
No.
It's not against the producers of the product in the other country. The tariff, much like a sales tax,
yes,
is paid by you,
the end user, the consumer. So even if it's but the thing is you're going to have...
It might be collected at the wholesale level.
Right.
But that gets passed on to you because that's just built into the overhead.
Absolutely. It gets built into the cost, built into the price. Now, and that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be some winners out of this. So in an early analysis,
what central planning is picking winners and losers.
Right. So in the case of the steel and aluminum, tariffs that went into effect, and that's what, those are things that are going to affect somebody like Whirlpool. They use lots of steel.
Right.
They use lots of aluminum and things like that. But, one of the early analysis, I'm going to fudge some numbers here, but you're going to get the gist of what I'm saying is that while, you may see a 10 to 15% increase in employment in the steel and aluminum industries, again, picking a winner, you're going to see 10 times that number of unemployment in other industries that are dependent upon steel. So you've got this one very small population that may have donated very heavily to re-election campaigns or political action committees or whatever. They get taken care of, but everybody else gets the shaft. So think massive unemployment when you start talking about tariffs. That is a result.
That there was the one company in Pennsylvania that makes kegs.
Right. Yeah.
Where they wound up having to lay off, was it 1/3 or 2/3 of their staff?
1/3. The only remaining keg manufacturer in the United States. Everything else has gone overseas.
Yeah.
He's laying off 1/3 of his staff. Unless,
and I think he said that he might have to lay off up to 2/3.
Right.
Just because of, all of the damage that's going to be done from his costs going up.
Right. Another example would be the nail manufacturer. They make nails. Yeah. Who was basically the only way they said that they could survive was they have to get lower cost labor. So they're contemplating moving all their operations to Mexico.
Yeah.
Which doesn't have a tariff. There's no tariff levied against them, so they can sell to America, do hand over fist business.
That's part of that 100-some-odd page free trade agreement. A free trade agreement should be shorter than the sentence explaining what a free trade agreement is.
Exactly. But here's a case where, okay, if this company moves down to Mexico, which is not affected by tariffs, suddenly they're competing against U.S.-made nails, which are higher in cost because of the tariffs.
Right.
And against Chinese-made nails, which are 25% higher because of the tariffs.
Right.
So why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I take all my jobs down to Mexico? Because this means success. This is like a gravy train.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to you, dear listener? These are the kinds of games that are being kicked around, and it's just... It's wrong. It's wrong to do.
Story from CNN. In January, when Trump announced tariffs on imported washing machines, CEO Mark Bitzer from Whirlpool said, "This is without a doubt a positive catalyst for Whirlpool." But the Trump administration didn't stop there and imposed tariffs on steel and aluminum, sending raw material prices skyrocketing. That has raised costs for Whirlpool by $350 million. There's more on that, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
This is Jessica Armand, founder of My Magic Mud. Our team helped organize a successful effort to remove fluoride from our city's water supply. This is our passion. My Magic Mud Oral Care purifies and brightens your smile naturally. GCN listeners, please support my family business by purchasing our products from your local health food store. We're also available at CVS Pharmacy, or visit us at mymagicmud.com and take 10% off now with coupon code GCN10.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it. George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That's the toll-free call-in line where you can call in and join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. The us in studio tonight is Daryl.
And Chris.
And Bitcoin.com want you to know about SaveAtPurse.com. Specifically, that Save at Purse is now accepting Bitcoin Cash, BCH, directly through the site. When Save at Purse first launched they were taking Bitcoin, BTC, directly through the site, and sometime later they added Shapeshift integration that allowed people to convert other cryptocurrencies into Bitcoin. Well, they recently got rid of the Shapeshift integration, but added the second option here of Bitcoin Cash, BCH. And SaveItPurse.com, it's a great website. You go there, you can buy the things that you were going to buy from Amazon anyway, but you wind up saving money, anywhere from 5 to 33%. And again, you do use cryptocurrency, either Bitcoin, BTC, or Bitcoin Cash, BCH, because they're now accepting Bitcoin Cash, BCH, directly through the site, SaveAtPurse.com. Let's go to the phones, where we've got Ron calling in from California. Ron, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi, thank you. I've been working with students who've had a few questions, and you bring up free trade, and you bring up all the imports. There have been some question about some medications coming out of China that weren't necessarily good, but the focus that we were talking about with the students at their knowwhat'sinit.org project, they wanted to know, with all the imports and free trade, when they bring in food that's said to be organic, when there's no way with the enormous amount of products being brought in that the government can actually test all that comes in. And why don't we have greater testing for the products that come in as we do for products that are called organic in the U.S.?
Well,
how can we have such an input of products that can't possibly be tested? We don't have the manpower
right,
or the testing equipment to do so.
Exactly, because government really sucks when it comes to guaranteeing anything is safe. So I look at the Food and Drug Administration, and it's a prime example of that. Every single pill that has ever been found to kill someone or kill hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of people was first certified as being safe and effective for use in humans. So, you're going to rely on government to inspect and verify the authenticity of organic food? I would say, are you crazy? Are you nuts? They're the last people we would want to do that. You're right. They're overworked. They're understaffed.
You go into a supermarket, sir, and it says organic, and then you go and you get something that isn't, and
yep,
it lists what's on the product, but they don't list what's at the lower level than what is regulated, so you're still getting a consumption and bioaccumulating that in your body, and over decades, that bioaccumulation of those hazardous substances can affect you with some disease or even cancer.
Potentially, yep. So I would suggest that you might want to look into, and this would be a good thing for your students to look into, would be blockchain, BLOCKCHAIN, and food supplies. And basically it's the same technology that is used in Bitcoin, where you can create a immutable ledger, something that cannot be messed with, and once things are written, they can be done. But there are a lot of blockchain projects out there to address this very thing. How do you verify the authenticity of something from basically farm to table? And is there a way that a particular piece of fruit or a particular harvest of wheat could be verified and then tracked through the whole supply chain? It's a kind of a neat idea, and this is designed to address specifically what you're talking about.
So just did a quick Google search.
Because, of course, it would require that whatever you brought in had to be tested. So you would have to go through a process no matter where it came from, because, when you produce an organic farm and you're across the street literally from a non-organic farm, you have something called wind.
You may. Yep, absolutely. And you're always going to have that. How are we never going to have that?
Well, the only thing is you do indoor and you control it in bed planting, and a lot of that can be higher production yield than even open ground.
Right. But, or grow your own.
I would like to know more about this program you just said.
Yeah.
Can I give you something offline where I can get something sent to me on it?
I will put you on hold.
Perfect.
And I will have the board op, or you know what? Let me just give you my email address, Daryl@freetalklive.com. Send me an email, and I will get some info from Chris and respond to your email. That work for you, Ron?
That works. I appreciate
Excellent. Thank you
Thanks,
for
Ben.
the call. Let's go to Don calling in from Providence, Rhode Island. Don, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, there's a site on human trafficking, Danielle Sittel, Sittel, on Google. It says 1387 WordPress. It's at the end of the picture of the hand over the glass video, said police admit. It says high school girl target for marketing, no longer agents of her own desire, but of his, and hyper-aggressive gangsters. They dictate what we're to sing. Pre-arranged marriages they desperately wish to escape.
Hold on. You've said a lot of words there, but I don't think any of them were in the form of a sentence. So slow down and...
How about three words? What's your topic?
Well, there's a site on human trafficking, Danielle, Sittel, on Google. It says 1387 WordPress next to it, and there's a picture of a hand over glass. It's interpreted at the end of the hand over glass. It's pretty concerning. It says high school girls targeted.
Hold on. So what's the point of having a hand over some glass? Like you're throwing out these things.
He just repeated exactly what he said the first time. So I would wager that.
In the end of the hand over the glass video. And
Right. No, you're saying the same thing. Thank you for the call. None of that was a coherent thought.
I'm just wondering what he was. Yeah, I have no clue.
I don't know.
I have no clue whatsoever. Sometimes we get those calls. Sometimes they're fun. Sometimes it's more fun just to try to figure out what the heck they're talking about.
Chris, to follow up on what you mentioned about blockchain and food.
Yeah.
A quick search. The first 3 things after the sponsored links, there's an article from New Food Magazine, How Blockchain Can Save Our Food, published May of this year. There's a PDF, downloadable PDF from Future Food Tech NYC, Blockchain and Food Security in the Supply Chain. Next is an article from Forbes, April of this year, 3 innovative ways blockchain will build trust in the food industry. Now, to go back and sort of answer part of the thing that I believe it was Ron from California, he was saying about, it requires somebody to check something. Well, let's look at the electronic industry real quick.
Right.
To where if I flip my laptop over, there's going to, on a couple of different pieces, be a letter U with, I think, an L next to it inside of a circle, which means that this particular thing has been certified by Underwriters Laboratory as being compliant with whatever their regulations are. There's going to be a bunch of other little symbols as well, because there are several organizations that are recognized as doing good certification on electronics.
Right.
There could, in a free market, and I think there are a couple of these already in the food industry that certify things as better than organic, because as I understand it, organic food could have been sprayed with fertilizer almost immediately before being picked.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you bring that up, and that's what at least the Forbes article talks about a little bit. And how do you verify that product labeling is actually accurate? And there is a group called Where Food Comes From. Is the #1 provider of certification and verification services for the food industry. This is from their website, so of course it sounds very nice. But again, here you have a group that either, at no charge or at some charge for people that they test for, verifies and certifies these things. So, unless you grow it yourself, you're never going to be 100% sure.
But even if you grow it yourself, you might not be 100% sure.
Yeah, well, depending on where your seeds came from, depends on what's upwind, depends on where your water comes from. There's all sorts of things.
Even if there is some kind of fee on these things, just like there's a fee with Underwriters Laboratory, if that marking on your label is valuable, people are going to pay to wind up getting that.
And you will sell your stuff to Whole Foods, where
people
they will
like saying that they're a member of the Better Business Bureau because that means something.
Right.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. Hour 3 coming up next. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Deagle, MD, AAEM, ACAM, A4M of NutriMedical.com, and a consultant providing email advice free on advanced protocols for your optimized wellness and advanced technologies to heal and regenerate you. You can contact us at NutriMedical.com, that's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871. You get free email starter protocols of our top medical-grade nutraceuticals, initial testing, and recommendations for your own primary doctor to do, as well as recommendations to give you an idea of a consultation and a full protocol to try to help you regenerate your tissues, heal naturally without the use of toxic polypharmacy. I can send test kits to you as well anywhere in the world and provide you recommendations to referral of specialty clinics worldwide. So contact me, Dr. Bill Deagle, at NutriMedical.com. That's NutriMedical.com, or 888-212-8871.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, July 26, 2018. Silver is trading at $15.58 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $30, and the average price of Bitcoin is $8,206. Antiwar.com reports, citing steps Egypt has taken over the last year, the Trump administration has decided to unfreeze $195 million in foreign aid earmarked for Egypt's military. The money was initially set aside in fiscal year 2016, and State Department officials say it will now be delivered. The funding was withheld over human rights concerns, as well as U.S. government anger and changes in Egyptian law regulating foreign non-government organizations. The Egyptian military junta greatly increased the penalty for NGOs seen as taking certain undesirable activities. U.S. military aid to Egypt is theoretically illegal at any rate because of the prohibition on funding military juntas. The U.S. has circumvented that by choosing to not recognize the 2013 coup d'etat, which ousted the elected government. The coup immediately fueled human rights concerns, with Egyptian forces killing hundreds of civilian protesters in the streets as terrorists and sentencing massive numbers of allies of the former government to death. Historical U.S. ties to Egypt, however, are heavily between the two militaries. This meant the U.S. was resistant to the brief civil government in Egypt and quick to embrace the new junta when it took over. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 13,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency, and Zencash now has supernodes. Supernodes will advance the decentralization of the Zencash network and ensure the utility not only of Zencash as a currency, but also the future services that will be layered in the infrastructure. Learn more at zencash.com. UPI reports Jason Spencer, a Georgia lawmaker who bared his butt and shouted slurs on Sacha Baron Cohen's Showtime series, has resigned. Spencer has faced criticism since his appearance Sunday night on Cohen's show, Who is America? In the series, Cohen dupes political figures. In Spencer's case, he believed Cohen was an Israeli TV host and former Mossad agent who wanted to teach him about tactics to ward off Islamic terrorists. Cohen told Spencer of various ways to repel attackers, including screaming the N-word or faking a Chinese accent to sneak sneak a selfie stick under a woman's burqa. Caleb McKitchen, a spokesman for Georgia House Speaker David Ralston, said Spencer will step down at the end of the month. Spencer lost the GOP primary in May after sponsoring failed anti-masking legislation critics called an anti-burqa law. Spencer had incentive to stay in office until January, at which point he would have logged 8 years in the Georgia Assembly, making him eligible for taxpayer-subsidized health insurance for life. Spencer said Cohen took advantage of my paralyzing fear that my family would be attacked. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports dozens of immigrant parents were coerced or misled by U.S. authorities on the Mexico border into signing forms agreeing to be deported quickly without their children, according to a legal filing made on Wednesday. A Honduran asylum seeker identified only as HGA and testimony filed in U.S. District Court in San Diego said, "They showed me a form and told me I needed to sign the form so I could be reunified with my son." Other parents were illiterate or spoke only indigenous languages, said that they could not understand the forms they were signing. Attorney Sophia Reeve said in a declaration that she met last week with 9 fathers on a list provided by the U.S. government of parents who had waived reunification with their children. She said all of the fathers had no idea they had signed a document that relinquished any rights to be reunited with their children. An official with the Department of Homeland Security, who asked not to be named, said a notice of rights is posted in English and Spanish in all detention facilities where parents are detained, and the forms waiving reunification must be read to parents in a language they understand. The official said some parents have indicated they want their children to remain in the United States with family members if they are deported. The American Civil Liberties Union filed statements from attorneys who interviewed immigrants and an immigrant's account to support its motion asking District Judge Dana Sabraw to stay deportations of reunited parents for 7 days after their children were returned to them. The rights group said the time was needed to advise parents of their rights and to allow them time to consider their options. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Markets went into a frenzy today after the price of money suddenly skyrocketed to $90 a dollar. Onion reporter spoke to economics professor Mark Cosgrave about the soaring cost of U.S. currency and the impact of increasingly unpredictable dollar-to-dollar rates.
Right now, money prices are steeply rising with no signs of slowing down. This morning alone, the price of dollars nearly tripled, with 1 cent worth approximately $6. That's exponentially higher than even a week ago when money was trading at roughly $53 on the dollar. To put it bluntly, we're now in the midst of a national economic crisis.
According to Cosgrave, the abrupt spike in dollar prices initially caused many Americans to hold on to their money, hoping that the $90 cost of dollars would soon dip back down. But as prices continued to climb, investors panicked and began purchasing as much money as possible.
But with the cost of quarters hitting $4.97 and the $5 bill jumping to a 12-year high of $372, the days when you could get $30 or $40 for just a couple of bucks are unfortunately long gone.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off hour number 3. You can call in and join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And the us in studio tonight is me, Daryl.
And Chris.
And we've been, well, pretty much all over the map.
I've got to say
tonight.
that the most common phrase we have when we do these shows is we've been all over the map. That's like the standard 9 o'clock answer, 9 o'clock Eastern for those of you listening across the country.
Yes, we are live every night of the week from 7 p to 10 p Eastern. That includes days such as Easter, Christmas, all of the nights of Kwanzaa, all of the nights of Hanukkah.
But not Canadian Boxing Day.
We're live Canadian Boxing Day. Your birthday.
Yeah.
Rusev Day, we're live that day as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Festivus.
Yes, also live.
So this was another story that popped up, and this has been big news, I would say, in your more libertarian circles and in your Second Amendment type circles, but this comes to us from thehill.com.
So before you get into this, I just realized that we didn't sort of explain the map that we have been on, because people are free to call in about anything, and sometimes there are some stations that will carry us delayed, so there might be people that are listening right now hearing the first hour where we were talking about Amazon's recognition. We also talked about tariffs, a group of farmers launching an anti-tariff ad campaign. Even though they're being bribed with $12 billion in handouts and welfare, they're not liking the fact that that's even needing to be on the table, because, again, as Harry Brown said, government's good at breaking your leg, giving you a crutch, and then saying, without us, you wouldn't be able to walk.
Right.
You can call in, again, about any of that, or what we're about to talk about, or just anything that is on your mind. 855-450 free.
And what we're going to be talking about right now is 3D printing guns. This is something that's been around for a couple of years.
Yes, it has.
Somebody you and I both know, I think, kind of kicked that off in a big way.
I actually don't think I have ever met Cody in person.
Really?
But I've definitely interacted with him online.
Yeah, likewise. But this article, again, anti-gun violence groups file to halt online posting of 3D printed gun plans. And we'll get into a little bit of the backstory here, so kind of bring you up to speed on what's going on. 3 prominent anti-gun violence group filed a motion early Wednesday to block a settlement that would allow for plans of 3D printed firearms to be posted online. So first of all, what's a 3D printed firearm? In the world of federal regulation of guns and things like that, there's a requirement that says that any gun sold by a manufacturer must have a serial number. This is how they can trace guns. They can track them going from one place to another, and who sold this gun to who, and who was the owner, and it was found in a crime, so who owns it?
By definition, any gun that does not have a serial number or is manufactured without ever having a serial number would be considered a ghost gun.
Some people use that term, but yeah, it would be basically under...
It's the type of gun that... does it's the same way I like my immigrants. Undocumented.
There you go. But so while that is a requirement for firearms manufacturers, and if you're building a complete gun, you can build your own gun at home, folks. You can do it. You can mill it out. You can do all this stuff. But then you have to put an identifying number on it, and you have to file that with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms,
There's
and
a regulation saying that you're supposed to do those things. Your gun will still work without a serial number and without being registered with some government entity.
Correct. So this has been the world we've always lived in. But along came 3D printers, and what the idea there was, well, if I can make my own gun and I'm not a manufacturer and it's for my use, does it need to have a some sort of registration number or things like that? We also have.
This was revolutionary in that it did not require people to have their own CNC milling machines.
Right, which is a very expensive metal milling machine. The idea was you could actually just basically make a plastic gun and put it out there on the internet, and anybody could print their own copy of it.
I think there is one tiny little piece of metal that has to be put in to where it will actually fire the bullet.
That is part of the design, and the people that came up with this, which is Defense Distributed, which was an organization that was created by Cody Wilson.
And isn't it just like a standard 10-penny nail?
I think in that design it is, but that's really, if you've ever seen a firing pin out of most guns, it's basically a nail. It's got a sharp pointy end on one end, and it's got a bigger end on the other that your hammer or your striker is going to hit. So basically what this did was allowed anybody who had a 3D printer to make their own firearm.
And you can buy these things for just a couple $100 at Staples now.
Yeah, 3D printers, it may not be up to the quality that you want, and you're probably going to put a little bit more into it. Now, the other thing about firearms is it is legal to sell the piece that has the serial number normally on it, as long as it's not completed to more than 80%.
Right.
And that's another thing that Defense Distributed has done, is come up with ways to sell an easy-to-use machine where you could take an 80% finished AR-15 lower, that's the part that has a serial number, and have it basically finish it overnight, and you wake up in the morning and you've got pretty much all the component you need to assemble a AR-15. But needless to say, this has anti-gun groups up in arms, and they say anti-gun violence groups. I don't know of anyone who is pro-gun violence, but that's the phrase this article uses. The Brady Center to Prevent...
Well, it is from the Hill, so
yeah,
there's probably going to be a little bit of a slant.
You bet. The Brady Center to Prevent Gun Violence, Everytown for Gun Safety, and Giffords Law Center jointly filed in U.S. District Court in Texas an emergency motion to intervene and an emergency motion for a temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction in the case. A representative for the Brady Center confirmed to the Hill that a closed hearing will be heard in the case on Thursday. The federal government has settled a lawsuit with gun rights activist Cody Wilson late last month, allowing him and his company, Defense Distributed, to post and sell the plans for 3D printed guns. The government has initially ordered Wilson to remove the plans, first posted online in 2013, saying it violated international law on the export of defense materials. Wilson complied but sued the government in 2015. The settlement exempts Wilson and his company from the restrictions on defense material exports, according to a copy of the settlement obtained by CNN. The three anti-gun violence groups argue in the filings that the federal government was correct in initially finding that posting the plans on the internet, quote, threatened national security, unquote.
What?
Yes. If you just allow people to print their own guns, mind you, with very expensive equipment, then somehow this threatens, quote, threatened national security, unquote, which is insane. Do you expect marauding bands of Chinese armed with plastic pistols to come storming over the horizon and
if you're determined enough, you could make a crossbow out of a newspaper and a rubber band.
I've never heard that one, but why not?
Oh, there's an entire episode of Mythbusters about it.
There's that. There's the fact that if you went into any hardware store with the right copy of the Anarchist Cookbook, you could probably make a bomb that would kill a lot of people, too.
Yeah. Or you could make something that is described in the book as a bomb but doesn't actually do anything, because a lot of those things the Mythbusters tested as well.
Right.
And turns out they just wind up making a mess. We'll jump back into this, plus your calls and thoughts. Welcome, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. What are your thoughts on 3D printing guns or just making them
She's
yourself?
Such a beautiful little puppy. I mean, we walk around the block, and neighbors always say, her hair is so beautiful.
Healthy and shiny and glossy. DINOVITE.com.
Fatty acids, omega-3s, and omega-6s are great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
I would really recommend people starting their puppies on Dinovite before they get into what I would call the misery index. Bad skin, bad ears, bad breath.
Because if they're getting all their vitamins, micronutrients, microbials from the beginning, then you're not going to run into the problems associated with the allergies, grass, pollen, dust, dirt, fleas, ticks, you name it, and the itching and shedding down the road.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
Dinovite for life.
This is Ed Lukasevic.
And Cindy Lukasevic.
Inviting you and your pets to Dinovite.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You are free to call in and talk live about whatever is on your mind. We'll get back to the phones and the article here in just a moment. But I want to remind you why you, if you don't have a home security system, why you might want to consider getting one. And that's because a home security system is supposed to help alert you before something bad happens, not after. The Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free. Setup takes minutes, and they run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. And the live feed for Blink lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and it even works with Alexa. Alexa, check my Blink feed. Visit blinkprotect.com. That's blinkprotect.com. Or go to Amazon and search Blink Camera. Blink is an Amazon company. Let's go to the phones. We've got Sarah calling in from New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes. So an arson burnt down one of the mobile feeding units next town over in Rio Rancho. They're right next to Albuquerque.
Okay.
So they're trying to find them. Yeah, they burnt one down, but So they had eight speeding bans, so they burnt down one of them.
It's a good start.
But then, well, I mentioned that the nightgown bandit, the old man that came out in his pajamas like 6 years ago in Santa Fe, and then he shot down one of the speeding vans.
Really?
About 6 years ago. Yeah, he was called Daryl knows about it. You know, the nightgown bandit.
If you happen to see him, thank you for your service.
Well, they put him in the mental hospital, you know, for that. But you know, the thing is, why do people love to speed and then love to get into big car accidents?
I can only speak for myself. Sometimes I'm in a hurry. Sometimes I'm running late. Sometimes that's it. But I don't love to speed, and I don't love to cause car accidents.
So let me attempt to answer this question using some math that I understand might confuse you, Sarah. The experts say that the speed limit is supposed to be set at the 85th percentile of the speed that people travel on the road. What generally happens in the United States is the speed limit gets set at the 50th percentile of how fast people generally drive on that road, meaning that the speed limits are often set too low, with the intent of knowing that they're going to be able to generate some revenue with speeding tickets. So it's not that people, quote unquote, love to speed. It's that based on the road conditions and the safety conditions of a particular area, people are going to tend to drive a certain speed. If it's a 4-lane road that is a straight road, people aren't going to drive 35, but there are roads in New Hampshire that are straight and 4 lanes where the speed limit drops down to 35, and it's all about revenue generation.
The more speeding tickets we can issue, the more money we get. Go ahead.
Well, the thing about it is that the caliber, the robots are set to give tickets 10 miles over the speeding limit.
Okay.
Not 5 miles. It's always like a standard practice. If it is 35, they have to be doing 45 or more, and then would trigger a picture of the license plate.
I understand what you're saying, but again, we're ignoring Daryl's math. Daryl's math says that experts say that it should be at 45% of what?
No, the 85th percentile.
Thank you. The 85th percentile of what traffic normally drives at. So basically, you're saying, you know, if they're going 10 miles over a arbitrary number, the right way to do it would be to open up a road, take down all your speed limit signs, let them drive on it for, a couple months, 6 months, a year, figure out what that number is and say, okay, based on what people actually do, this road should have a speed limit of 79.4 miles an hour. That would be more accurate than just saying this is a 35-mile-an-hour zone. Do you see what I mean there?
What do you think if you say 75 miles per hour, what do you think they'd be doing? You know what they'd be doing? They'd be doing 90 miles an hour.
Some people will. Some people will. No argument there. Some people are going to go slower. I don't speed nearly like I used to. I just basically go the speed limit or a couple miles over. That's it.
And Sarah, are you aware of what the laws were in Montana until about 20 years ago?
No, what's going on with that state?
So in Montana and I think it was about 20 years ago when they actually wound up implementing a daytime speed limit for the first time ever, there was no speed limit in Montana other than it had to be safe for the road conditions.
Right.
And if you wound up getting pulled over, and people would get pulled over for driving at what an officer thought was an unsafe speed.
Yep.
But if they could then convince either the officer or the judge that they were driving at a safe speed, the ticket would be dropped. And they did not have some, huge number of traffic fatalities.
Right.
But the reason they wound up implementing a speed limit was because the federal government threatened to withhold highway funding.
Let me share one story that's sort of about that. And I think we used to call those prima facie laws for speeding. I don't know where that came from, exactly how they associated prima facie with speeding laws, but
prima facie means on its face.
Yeah. But this was a story that we used to hear. Maybe it's an urban legend, but in Oregon we had the same thing. The story was this: on I-84, this long, hundreds and hundreds of miles long stretch of pretty straight road, a cop sees this car fly by him, pulls him over. Do you have any idea how fast you were going? He's like, yep, I was going 162.4 miles an hour. I am driving on dry pavement. My car has been freshly tuned because I'm a race car driver. And, I have 20/20 eyesight. And he listed all these reasons why I couldn't, and the cop still gave him a ticket. He takes it to court, and the judge throws it out because you are a race car driver. You have the skills to go that fast. You were driving on dry pavement. No problem there. You weren't driving at night. No problem. Why shouldn't that be the rule?
Sarah?
Do you like somebody going 160 miles an hour just because he's a race? I mean, would you feel safe with that? I wouldn't.
If they didn't hit me.
I wouldn't go for it. You know what I mean? Just because you make reasons, and that judge is crazy. They should vote him out. People knew that's how he ruled. If people knew, then they would get voted out.
Why? Because he did something that he said, no, there's obviously no reason for me to charge you with anything because you didn't put anyone at risk.
Sarah, we all know that you hate cars and you're not going to be happy until cars just cease to exist. Thank you for the call.
Thanks, sir.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
This is Jessica Armand, creator of the fluoride-free oral care brand My Magic Mud. You're going to love our new products. Our cutting-edge oral rinses deeply soothe your mouth and fight cavities naturally. Our breath spray, My Magic Mist, will invigorate your senses with essential oils of peppermint and eucalyptus. Our clinically proven toothpaste and tooth powders whiten your teeth and detoxify your mouth. Buy discounted bundles direct at mymagicmud.com and take 10% off with coupon code GCN10. mymagicmud.com.
Hi, I'm Patrick Colbeck, and I'm running for governor. Time for some straight talk. I'm pro-God, pro-family, pro-life, and pro-constitutional carry. As an aerospace engineer, I like to fix things. We need to fix our roads, our schools, our auto insurance, our health care, and our tax policy. That's exactly what I will do if you elect me as your next governor. Principled solutions prioritize your best interests, not lobbyists. Paid for by Patrick Colbeck for governor.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. Want to invite you, if you've never watched Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, want to invite you to watch the movie, and you can watch it for free online at victimlesscrimespree.com. Or if you're one of those people that likes getting extra stuff, well, you can order one of the limited edition DVDs that includes, I believe it's about 8 hours of bonus footage. And if you pay, I think it's like $2 more, you can get a signed DVD signed by Derek J. and possibly signed by Ian as well. Ian Freeman, of course, the executive producer of Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Go to victimlesscrimespree.com. Let's go back to the phones. We've got Dodger calling in, watching us on the YouTube. Dodger, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, at the end of the last segment, the only thing I could think of was Sammy Hagar. And
nice.
You guys know the song, I Can't Drive 55.
Yes.
Now I never actually experienced that. I'm way too young, but both of my parents did, and something that, based on what I've heard, and I could be mistaken, but I heard that there were actually traffic studies that showed that you were absolutely no safer just going 55 than you were doing like 80. And I could be mistaken, but it just seems to me as if an arbitrary speed limit. That's why different places that you look at the Autobahn in Germany, right, where there is no speed limit.
Actually, I was trying to pull up to see, because I had heard that the average speed on the Autobahn, where up until apparently recently there wasn't a speed limit. The average speed was somewhere between like 60 to 70 miles an hour, which of course they rated in kilometers per hour. But according to the Wiki article, it looks like a speed limit was instituted within the last 3 years.
Interesting. I've always heard.
Oh, okay.
I can't back this up, but I've always heard that more accidents are caused by differentials in speed than just speeding.
Yes.
In other words, somebody is going 55, somebody else is going 90, then there's a potential for an accident. And if everybody just kind of hit that medium point, if everybody just drove 70 or whatever it happens to be, it would be a little bit safer. Your thoughts?
Well, I can tell you when I drive on the highway, especially long distances, I like to try to get into what I consider a speed group, and I like to try to get in the middle of them.
Right.
And not in the front, not in the back, because those are probably the ones most likely to be targeted, but I'll do like 75, and then I'll find a speeding group that is willing to do 80, 85. They're coming up on me, and I like to try to jump in the middle of them, and I feel much safer doing that. It's just, and I'm not sure if that study, that both of my parents told me about it, and I seem to have read something about it, that there was a study done, and that's the reason why the national speed limit ceased to exist, is it's because there were just as many traffic fatalities and accidents, if not more. Michigan has a minimum speed on their highways. I'm not sure how it is in the rest of the country, but we have a minimum speed of 55. Obviously, if there's a blizzard, you're not going to be doing 55, but in normal road conditions, you're actually considered unsafe by doing underneath a certain speed limit.
Right, and there is, and I don't know if it's a federal thing, but on every interstate that I've ever been on, and I've driven all over the country, there is a minimum speed limit, and it is because of that thing that you had mentioned, that speed differential that causes crashes, to where if you've got people driving the maximum speed, which 70, 75, depending on where you are, and then you've got other people driving 40, there's going to be accidents.
Or even if they're doing the posted speed limit, let's say it's a 65 zone, they're doing 65, but they come up on a, some little white-haired lady who's doing 35 miles an hour on the highway.
Right.
It's not good. And I don't know. I just, like I said, I've grown up hearing all these stories, and like I said, I completely admit that some of these may just be urban legends. But it makes sense to me to follow basically what everybody else is doing. If everybody else is doing 65, 70, 75, 80, if I'm going the same speed, there's not that differential in speed, and it seems to be safer to me.
So I pulled up
to me as well.
Pulled up some statistics, and Dodger, thank you for the call. Pulled up some statistics here from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. They say approximately 70% of all fatal crashes on roadways with speed limits of 40 miles per hour or less are in urban areas. Fatal crashes occurring on roadways with speed limits between 45 and 50 are evenly split between rural and urban. And over 70% of the fatal crashes on roadways with speed limits of 55 or higher are in rural areas. And of course, they have charts showing the breakdown of rural versus urban for those crashes and speed limits. And I'm guessing that there's also going to be, shall we say, a higher number of roads in a rural area with speed limits of 55. I've never been in a city where there's been a speed limit over 55 unless it's interstate going through the city.
Right.
Like there's not a surface road where you can do 60 through Denver or San Antonio.
You'll have your beltways, you'll have your interstates that travel through a city and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. It's just not realistic. I can't believe Sarah generated this much discussion on this topic, because it's always the same topic with Sarah.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to think about. And I don't know whether I really need a government to tell me how fast is a safe speed to travel.
Right.
I consider them guidelines.
We've talked about some of these towns in Europe where they've just removed all of the signs. They've removed the stop signs, the yield signs, the pedestrian cross here signs. They've removed all of them. And what happened? Yeah, accidents went down. The number of pedestrians that wound up getting hit or killed went down. I've even noticed in tiny little Keene, New Hampshire, that we have a fair number of intersections with, what would be considered a major road for here, where there's no stop sign at any of the 3 points. But people come to a stop on that crossroad going into the T.
We have a great intersection in the little town I live in, and it's outside of town. But you're basically, if you're coming up the hill, that's one road. You could be coming across a bridge, which turns onto that road is another road. There's another road that comes down like off of a hill where there's like a housing. So it's 4 different ways to enter this intersection, and they're pretty much all blind.
Right.
Like you can't see any of them. And
Stop sign or yield signs?
None.
Nothing.
Nothing whatsoever, and somehow I've never seen an accident there.
Let's go to the Skype where we've got Stefan calling in. Stefan, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, guys. How are you today?
Doing well. What's on your mind?
I'd like to ask a question. You guys are both part of the liberty movement, right? More like the libertarian leading side of things.
Daryl certainly is. I'm certainly a liberty kind of guy. I leave it at that. I don't belong to any parties or anything.
But the liberty movement is larger than just the Libertarian Party.
Guaranteed.
Go ahead with the question.
I guess this would be more oriented towards you, Daryl, because I was getting into a little conversation with Karen Ann Harlow a little bit ago about this, and it circled around the candidate for chair of the Libertarian Party. What do you think of the LibSoc caucus?
All right, so I will put you on hold, explain who Karen Ann Harlow is. She's the current secretary of the Libertarian Party of the National Committee. And, yeah, let's talk about libertarian socialism.
Huh?
Yeah, it's a thing. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450, free.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You open your Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime, which is why I chose Blink. Visit blinkprotect.com, blinkprotect.com, all one word, blinkprotect.com, or go to amazon.com and search Blink Camera. Blink is an Amazon company.
Long-distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
Get relief for your neck or back pain when you search Amazon for Sunshine Pillows, heating wraps, and pads, often listed as an Amazon choice.
Why take another pill?
Now, from Sunny Bay and by customer demand, we introduce our extra long neck heating wrap, a complete wrap, wide and hands-free, and brings fast relief to those who suffer from neck or back pain.
You can easily find Sunshine Pillows on Amazon.
Or search Amazon for our new Sunny Bay disposable heat pads. Or look for Sunny Bay heated neck wraps for relief from back pain to menstrual pain and cramps.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck, or back, or shoulder.
See why our company, Biomed DB Design, has a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. Just go to Amazon.com and search Sunny Bay, or call us 253-678-1361.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Possibly time for you and your thoughts in the closing moments, where you can join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. The us in studio tonight is me, Daryl.
And Chris.
And we go back to the Skype where we've got Stefan calling in from Ohio. And Stefan, just want to basically re-ask the question here to make sure that I remember it correctly. You said that you were having a conversation earlier today with the Secretary of the Libertarian National Committee, Karen Ann Harlow.
This was last week, and it was a discussion.
Last week, okay.
It was a discussion about a certain candidate for chair this time around, Matt Kuehnel.
Yes.
And whether or not, I was asking her whether or not she thought he had a seat at the table, and she said no libertarian, socialist, or communist has a seat, has a right to, make any decisions in the Libertarian Party. And I wanted to know what you thought of the Libertarian Socialist Caucus, because I know you and Matt Kuehnel are both in the Audacious Caucus, as am I.
Right. So let me sort of explain what the Audacious Caucus is very quickly. It's a group of people that kind of got fed up with the Radical Caucus, not necessarily wanting to be radical in some aspects. And so the Audacious Caucus was formed because audacious is more radical than radical. And as far as libertarian socialism, I know that there are some people that will say, oh, that's cool, I'm a banana octopus. But as long as everything is voluntary, I don't care if somebody wants to live in a voluntary commune. Like, there's a lot of stuff that we need to deal with before we wind up determining, whether or not I wind up getting to own my own bed and underpants.
Yeah, and I think that's really, because that is an example I hear a lot. It's like, well, if you had and somebody brought up in Discord, a very horizontally run voluntary co-op.
Right.
Okay. But in that, you are saying that, this is voluntary. Anyone can join, anyone can take part, and I assume there'll be some level of rules. Is that just means you're sharing work and you're sharing proceeds. When I think of socialism, I think of someone taking the means of production, not in a voluntary manner.
Right. That's why, the LibSocs will always mention that, or LibSoc, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Something about socks. Don't use that sock. But no, so they always point out the libertarian aspect and the non-coercion and the non-aggression principle,
sure.
and sticking true to libertarian philosophy, which libertarian philosophy in and of itself does not recommend or directly tie to a particular economic strategy. It just says that
don't use force against people.
Don't use force.
Right.
Whether that means that, I can wind up, owning something and voluntarily sharing it or not, as long as there's no force. If I want to collectively join other people and say, hey, let's share the workload here.
Right. I got a big farm.
I don't see a problem there.
Right. Yeah. And why would you? Go ahead.
That's why I got a little bit frustrated when I was at the Libertarian Convention of Ohio, because Matt Kuehnel was there and everybody was basically treating him, like he was a joke, everybody that I talked to. And the whole time I was one of the few people defending him, saying, look, he's for non-aggression. He doesn't believe in coercion. He doesn't believe in a monopoly use of force. He is a libertarian in that regard, and I don't think that those people should be forced out of the party.
Right.
It's really quite ridiculous. Because, well, it shouldn't be surprising, because the Libertarian Party of Ohio is the most diet Republican party in the entire country, and I can't wait to see their gubernatorial nominee bite them in the butt.
Right. And, one thing that people that weren't at the Libertarian Convention, the National Convention, might not realize is there was a token system for the chair candidates getting into the debate that happened the day before the vote.
Okay.
And I forget how many tokens a candidate needed in order to wind up getting into the debate, but I wound up giving my token to Matt Kuehnel because I wanted to make sure that his voice was heard on the debate stage. Whether I agree with everything he says or not is irrelevant to whether or not I think that he does have some valuable things to say.
Yeah.
Sadly, I couldn't make it to the convention because I'm a registered Green because of how the registration system here in Ohio works. But I was actually going to ask, since you were there, I heard that James Weeks actually got the amount of tokens required to be in the debate, but they didn't have enough podiums. Did you hear anything about that?
Yeah, and there was actually a point of contention on that, to where there was, point of information of, why are we limiting this to only 5 candidates when there were 6 candidates that wound up getting the number of tokens? And the response from the chair of the Convention Oversight Committee was, well, we only rented this many podiums. Well, can we wind up getting another one? And he said, no, we can't. And then Arvin Vohra said, is there any rule against candidates sharing a podium? And there was not a rule against candidates sharing a podium. And so then Arvin wound up making a motion to wind up allowing James Weeks to share his podium. And I don't know why, since there wasn't a rule against it, that we had to vote on this, but it was overwhelmingly rejected. And I think that James Weeks should have been allowed on the debate stage.
They said no because he was the chair stripper.
Right, but he kept all of his clothes on in public this time.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and there's problems with the way some of the election stuff works within the Libertarian Party that hopefully winds up being resolved in 2 years, to where we had speeches for vice chair that went on for almost an hour. We had speeches for at-large that went on for, I think it was close to 2 hours, because we had 45 people running and they each got up to 5 minutes. And it was just absolutely ridiculous. And when the convention ended, we still had ballots that had not been counted for some of the races. And we're what, almost a month out of convention, and we're still trying to determine whether or not a judicial committee was actually elected. I say that there was, and I'm not just saying that because I'm one of the people that would have been elected if there actually was a judicial committee elected, but there's a rule that says that the judicial committee is elected in the same manner as at-large representative for the LNC. And even though the LNC rules were suspended and amended during the convention, and at one point the chair was asked whether it applied to something else, and he said no, but then he was later reminded of this rule, and it sounded like he changed his opinion on something. There's still discussion about some of the elections 3 weeks after the convention.
The LNC is a mess, I swear.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It needs to change. It needs to be streamlined, and hopefully it gets fixed before 2 years from now. Otherwise, we might wind up having a convention that ends without knowing whether or not we actually elected a presidential candidate.
So I got to ask you guys, because you're both very big in the Libertarian Party, the real party.
Right.
I am on the state level.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say that it just feels like it's just kind of getting, it just sort of moves from one strange thing to another strange thing.
Oh, it definitely moves from one strange thing to another strange thing.
But is there a movement underfoot to get the grown-ups involved? And I don't by that I don't mean to say that you've got to get Bill Weldon as your presidential candidate.
So,
what I'm saying is anybody looking at this thing going, we could sort of act like a real political party.
So there are people doing that, but then the discussion is which group of people arguing with one another and saying Robert's rule says this, which group of those people are the real adults?
Don't look at Ohio for it. We literally started a drinkers caucus.
The Moonshine Caucus started at the National Convention. Mark Claire from Lions of Liberty wound up getting drunk and starting that one night. Stefan, thanks you for the call. If we did not get to you tonight, try back earlier tomorrow because we are live every night of the week from 7p to 10p Eastern. And we are always online at freetalklive.com.
What is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7